welcome to lesson 3 in this module 6 on testing. We're going to cover in here something really unusual. I guarantee you will not have seen this in any other AdWords course anywhere. So pay close attention, because what we're about to go through is something that's hugely important but that you won't have seen. So just a quick recap before we dive into that. We know all about the importance of testing. We know why we do it. We're now going to, in here, look at metrics and set up our test environment conceptually so we understand what we're about to do. So, warning, I'm about to introduce a whole bunch of new terms and phrases that you will not have heard. You might want to watch this video once or twice, go through it a couple of times, use the notes as well, because the concepts we're about to discuss, once you understand them, will change how you approach managing AdWords accounts. They will change your approach to testing and optimization. But they are different, they're not taught elsewhere, so you might want to go through them once or twice just to get your head around why we're doing what we're doing. So with that said, a quick recap. You'll recall Module 2, we discussed goal horizons. As a refresher, a goal horizon is your chosen success metric, be it cost per action, cost per lead, return on ad spend, whatever it is that was appropriate for your business based on that Module 2 work we did, with a chosen target date. So every goal horizon has a date. So ad cost per sale of $375 by 31st December. That's a goal horizon. And that we have a quantified, specific, actionable goal, and we have a date by which to achieve it. We also have a goal origin. So if we know where we're going, we need to know where we're starting from, and where we're starting from is today. So if you have no history at all, then your goal origin will be 0. If you have a history, look at your last 30 days and use that to calculate your goal origin. So let's say today you have an ad cost per sale of $525 per day. That's your goal origin. We know we want to get to 375 from the previous slide, so we have a goal origin, we have a goal horizon, which gives us a goal trajectory. We now know how fast we need to improve each week to achieve our horizon. It's as simple as that. Those three things tied together, they make perfect sense. We have an end, we have a start, and we have a map. It's like a map. If you think a bit of a map, we have a destination, we have a starting point, we have a route. Our route is our goal trajectory. And I've, in the worksheets, put together this for you just so you can see what it looks like, because it's really interesting to track graphically. So, pulling through from our earlier work, we have, in this case, an ad cost per inquiry. So we want to know what it's going to cost us for each inquiry. We want $30. We want to achieve that by 31st of October. We are currently seeing a cost of $50 per inquiry at the 1st of August, which gives us our trajectory of we have to improve by $20 per inquiry, and we have 13 weeks to do it in. So if we look at what our 13 weeks should look like, if we do it on a linear basis, and the likelihood is that testing never goes linear, wouldn't it be a perfect world if every single test produced the right amount of improvement and a nice steady state? We can plot on this chart here what we actually achieve in each week. So we might achieve 47, we might achieve 46, and so on. And you can see the line starting to appear on the graph over here. So use this worksheet to track your current performance against your objective. That's what it's there for. So that's what the first set of metrics that we're going to do. It says starting point, end point, route map. Origin, horizon, trajectory. That's where we're going with here. Now let's break this down to the next level to understand why things are happening. So, first thing to say is while we are testing, so during the period of a test, we want to control the environment that we're testing in, which means if we're testing ad copy, then we shouldn't be making other changes to the ad group. We want ads to stay in the same position. We want to be testing the same keywords, the same landing page. We want to make sure that the things around the test that we're running stay consistent. So While one test is running in an ad group, we shouldn't be changing anything else in it. That's really important. We need to understand if our competitors are changing anything, but we don't change anything else in our own environment. And if we do that and we build on that, we can build momentum. And so this is what really matters here. Momentum. It's how fast we can improve. And it's like, there's showing the image on the screen now. You know that scenario where you have a small snowball at the top of a hill, push it down a snowy hill. As momentum builds, that snowball grows and it gets faster and it becomes unstoppable. That's what we want to do, and what I'm going to show you next is how we do it. And I'm going to introduce some more terms. So stick with me through this. This is a bit of a head sort of thinking one, but stick with me, it's important. I'm going to talk about the 4 V's of momentum. Vitality, which is measured in days per conclusion. And I'll show you that in a second. Validity, which is a percentage. Velocity, which is a days per improvement. And value, which is a measurement of size. So let's have a walk through those in turn. Vitality. What is a vitality? Vitality is how long does it take us to reach a test conclusion on average in our ad campaign? Because if we know we need to improve, we need to know how fast we can improve. If we're going to hit our trajectory, the only way we can work out how quickly we can improve is figure out how many days it's going to take us to get to an answer on any test that we run. And this is how we do it. We look at the number of impressions at a starting point. So we can measure over the last 5,000 impressions that our ads saw, we were able to reach 4 test conclusions, which meant that each test to conclude needed 1,250 impressions. Now, if our ads are only getting 250 impressions per day, that means every 5 days, on average, we are going to reach a test conclusion. It might be a good or bad conclusion, but we're going to reach a conclusion. So our vitality is 5 days per conclusion, because we know on average we can't go any faster than that, because that's it. Unless we have more traffic, which is one of the ways we can improve things, buy more traffic, buy more impressions and clicks, that would be one way to increase our vitality. We know it's going to take that minimum amount of time. If that number 5, and I've kept the numbers really simple here, I would never expect to see a 5 day per conclusion. I would expect to see at least 10 to 14. But keeping these simple numbers, that is the reality of our account. If we need to improve faster than that, we can't with the current level of traffic. So it's really important that we understand how quickly we can make decisions based on our current level of traffic. So that's vitality, days per conclusion. We then look at validity. So we know we've run a test, but how many of them actually worked? And if we've run 4 tests, but only 2 of them had a positive impact on our account, then we've got a 50% validity. If we've run 4 tests and 3 were successful, then we have a 75% validity. It means for every test that we run, how likely is it to work or not? So we know that to get improvements in our account, we might need 5, 10, 15 tests to be running so that some of them will have a chance of success. So clearly, one thing we can do to improve faster is to think of better tests. To test more successfully means we improve faster. So for the purpose of this example, keeping the numbers the same, I've assumed a validity of 66%. So 2 out of every 3 tests we're going to run, that's our historical average I'm going to work through for the remainder of this example. Validity and vitality together give us velocity, measured in days per improvement, which is basically, on average, how long does it take us to get better? So we know from before, our vitality was 5 days. So we were saying 5,000 impressions, 4 conclusions, gives us 1,250 impressions needed to get a conclusion. With 250 impressions available today, it took us 5 days. But we now know that only 2 out of 3 tests are going to give us a positive validity. They're going to be able to give us a positive outcome. So to get an improvement, we need to multiply these together, or rather divide one by the other, and we end up with 7.5 days per improvement on average. Because typically, 2 out of 3 tests are going to be successful, 1 test will fail. So if you imagine we ran 3 tests, days 1 to 5, days 5 to 10, days 10 to 15, only 2 of those are going to be successful. So in 15 days, we get 2 improvements, which is where we get the 7.5 from. So that's velocity. So validity and vitality together give us our velocity. Now, we then need to look at value, which is, we know we've had a successful outcome from our test, but how successful was it? And value measures, on average, when we get an improvement, how big is it? Is it a 1% improvement in our goal? Is it a 10% improvement in our goal? What is it? What does that look like? So I've assumed here for this example, it's 5%. So that each time we run a test, we get a 5% improvement towards our goal. Which logically says if you actually got 20 improvements, you'd reach your goal. Because 5 times 20 gives us 100% of our goal. That would put us at our goal horizon. Put those together, we get our momentum, which is a percentage per day. That says, given how fast we're testing, how successful those tests are, and the impact each of those tests have, we are currently improving our campaign at 0.66% per day. Think about that. That quantifies how fast we are making improvements in our AdWords account. That tells us if we're going to be on track or not. It's an awesome set of mechanics and set of measures that together allow us to understand if we're going the right way or not. And we can use momentum. We can use it to track changes in performance against goal horizon, so we know how close we're getting. And we can actually see if we would need to get a 1.5% momentum per day, and we were seeing 0.5 in our last 6 months worth of testing, then we have to question, is that goal horizon realistic? Because we know typically we improve at 0.5% a day. To achieve that goal, we need to improve at 1.5% per day. What can we do different to achieve that goal horizon? It gives you that sense of, is this sensible or not? And let's just dive down a little further into it. Let's think about the 4 V's and how we actually use them. So this concept's great, but it's only great if it's useful. And here's how we think about using it. If we're testing too slowly, we have a vitality issue. Maybe we just don't have enough traffic. Maybe we need to increase our budgets to get more traffic so we can test more quickly. If we're getting failed tests, then let's think about our testing process. What are we testing? Can we improve that? Can we change the way we write ad copy? Can we change the way we add keywords or add negative keywords? What changes can we make that are likely to give us a better outcome? Those two together give us too few improvements. So that's a velocity impact. And we also need to look at, again, the quality of our work to say, well, if we're getting a success, is it big enough? What can we do different to test bigger and larger things to really make the change to our campaign? So this allows us to drill down to the cause of any problem in our account. Because if our tests are successful, are they happening fast enough? Are they big enough? If our tests are too slow, can we get more traffic? It gets you to the problem so you can fix the problem. That's why this matters so much, and why other people in AdWords just don't talk about this, because it's too seat of the pants, unplanned account management. This isn't an unplanned account management. This is a strategy to achieve a goal. So, using the worksheet you've got on this training session, take a copy of that. Work out your goal origin. If you've got an existing account, that's your existing performance. That's where you are today. Use last 30 days as a benchmark. If you have got an existing account, work out your existing momentum. If you aren't currently advertising, let's start with 0. We don't know what the answer is going to be. Let's start at 0 base. Bye for now.